ภาษาอังกฤษสำเนียง Subword กับ Kru Nat Common mistake in using the Incoterms 2010 by ICC. Here are some of the most common mistakes made by the exporters or importers. Use of a traditional sea and inland waterway only, such as FOB or CIF, for containerized goods instead of the old transport modes like FCA or CIP. This exposes the exporters to unnecessary risk. A good example was the Japanese tsunami in March 2011, which wrecked the container terminal. Many hundreds of consignments awaiting dispatch were damaged. Exporters who were using the wrong Incoterms 2010 found themselves responsible for losses that could have been avoided. Under FCA, the exporter finishes obligation for the risk of loss or damage once the goods delivered into the custody of the carrier or the freight forwarder at the container terminal, which is different from FOB, which requires the exporters to be liable until the goods being delivered on board the vessel at loading port. Making assumptions about passing of titles to the goods. Based on the Incoterms 2010 in use, the Incoterms 2010 are silent on when title passes from seller to buyer. This needs to be defined separately in the sales contract. Failure to specify the port, place with sufficient precision, like FCA Bangkok, which could refer to many places within a wide area in Bangkok. Attempting to use DDP without thinking through whether the seller can undertake all the necessary custom formalities in the buyer's country, like paying GST or value-added tax or sales tax. Attempting to use X word without thinking through the applications of the buyer being required to complete export procedures. In many countries, it will be necessary for the exporters to communicate with the authorities in the exporting countries in a number of different ways. Use of CIP or CIF without checking whether the level of insurance in force matches the requirement of the commercial contracts. These Incoterms 2010 only require a minimal level of cover like ICCC or In Situ Cargo Clause C, which may be inadequate. Where there is more than one carrier, failure to think through the application of the risk transferring and taking in charge by the first carrier. From the buyer's perspective, this may turn out to be the small haulage company or freight forwarder in another country, so redress may be difficult in the event of loss or damage. Failure to establish how terminal handling charges THC are going to be treated at the point of arrival. Carriers' practices vary a good deal here. Some carriers absorb the THCs and include them in their freight charges, however others do not. When we make an offer, we have to clearly stipulate in the offer that a price offered is without THC or DTHC. Where payment is with a letter of credit or LC or a documentary collection DP or DA, failure to align the Incoterms 2010 with the security requirement or the requirement of the banks